Ah, it's good to be back, isn't it? That Redstone tutorial world was great and everything, but it's not the same as here. No way is it the same as here. With the good old-fashioned door-banging Alfred ruining my introduction. Yeah! Good to see you again, my friend. And that's right, you can speak now, can't you? After 1.6, you got given sounds. It's awesome. Finally, I can actually talk to you for all this time. Are you going to introduce the episode today now, then? No. Okay. Alright guys, welcome back to my Minecraft tutorial. This is episode 59, and in today's episode we're going to be looking at the daylight sensor. So let's get straight to it, I guess. Before I do start though, I did do a bunch of caving and enchanting and a bunch of other things off camera, and I've got a bunch of new items, so don't be too surprised that I've got all this stuff now. I did want to kind of get prepared for the upcoming tutorials because we've got a lot to do. We have a little bit more redstone to cover, then we're going to be moving on to 1.6. So let's see. The project that involves the daylight sensor is going to be over here by the wizard's tower, so why don't we go check that out. And I just want to check my difficulty. Yes, we are on normal, and I'm going to turn the sound down now because we don't need it up. So here we go. So yeah, the daylight sensor is a item in the game which was added in Minecraft 1.5, and what it does is it detects sunlight. And if you remember all the way back when I talked about inputs and outputs in the first episode on the Redstone world, I actually mentioned to you guys that it was a bit of an odd one because it doesn't require user interaction. And that's still true, it doesn't, but what it does is it detects sunlight and where the sun is in the sky, and depending on where it is in the sky, it actually outputs a different level of power. So what we're going to do is here we have all these lights that are permanently switched on during the day and the night, and it's using up a lot of energy. I have a big energy bill. The neighbours are complaining over at the village that it's lit up like Christmas over here, so we want to turn them off and save on a little bit of electricity there. So alright, so I want to drop some stuff off in here, so at the same time I guess we can craft in here. So broken power tube bow, you can belong in there now, and I'm going to put my enchanted books in here. So we have a crafting table right here, and let's show you how to craft one of these daylight sensors. So you're going to need wooden slabs. It doesn't matter which type of wooden slabs, you're just going to need them. Then you're going to need 3 bits of nether quartz, and then you're going to need 3 bits of glass on the top, and that gives you one daylight sensor. So it looks like a solar panel. Let's just have a look at it for a minute. Let's head out here. It looks basically like a solar panel. We've got a little testing area right here. That's what it looks like a little solar panel. Now if you attach redstone to it, then you're actually going to see that it gives out a signal much like any other input. And as the sun goes down, this is going to steadily decrease. So if we actually watch this for a minute, you will see that this actually turns off after a couple of minutes, and then it will go down and down and down until it is absolutely dead, which means it's nighttime. So let's just watch it for a few minutes. At the moment, it's at 3, 6, 9. It's at 12. So as you can see, this is up to 15. There you go, did you see that? It's no longer making those particles. Now it's decreased, and it will happen again here momentarily when the sun gets a little bit lower in the sky, and it will go dead here, and it will steadily decrease until there is absolutely no power from it. And that means that it's dead, it's nighttime. So that is what the daylight sensor does. It requires no interaction from the player. You just place it down. As you can see, it died there again. And it just kind of sits there, and as the days and nights tick by, it just activates spontaneously on its own. So that's what it's used for. In terms of where it can power from all 4 sides, as you can see. I believe that it can also oh yeah, I have this super awesome shovel now. I'm gonna have to get used to that. I don't usually get to this point. I believe it can power directly below. No, actually it doesn't. Although, I guess directly below it would be that block right there, wouldn't it? Here. So let's test that theory. Yep, it powers directly below, although I should take those away. As you can see, it does power directly below, and I believe it would be very hard to get it above it, but I might be led to believe that it is able to be power the block above, and then if I pop some redstone on the top, no, it does not. Okay, so it does not power above it, so it powers all around it and below it. So much like many other inputs, I guess, really, in that way. So it can be mined with a pickaxe. I don't think it can be mined. Oh, it can be mined with anything. I did not know that. It can be mined with anything, including your fist. So you can pick it up fairly easily. It breaks very fast, and you get it back. So that's pretty nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a simple NOT gate. If you remember when we actually looked at logic gates, we looked at what a NOT gate was, and we're going to hook it up to one of these daylight sensors, and at that point we're going to make the lights turn on at night time because it's the opposite, and go off in the day. So I'm just going to jump into bed because we don't want to work with all the monsters around. I'm not sure what I'm doing here in terms of sleeping, but never mind. So here we go, it's daytime again, so we can head out here, and now we need to choose a convenient location to put this thing, and I'm guessing because there is sets of lights here and here that we would want it somewhere in between, and I'm going to hide all the wiring, of course, but for this moment in time let's just leave it somewhere where it's going to be quite nice. Now there's one thing that we need to talk about in relation to this and what it does if you put blocks above it. If you put blocks above it and around it, it will lower the amount of power it gives out. The exception to the rule to that being, I think, glass. If you put glass above it, then it will not change, so you can kind of hide it away by putting glass above it and to the side of it, and that way you will still retain the full amount of power, but if you surround other blocks in it, you're going to get some different results. So we don't want that, we just want it to be nice and simple. So why don't we put it right here, and that's where our daylight sensor is going to be. Now one thing that we need to note from this daylight sensor is that monsters will spawn in light levels of 7 or less. Now what that means is we need the lights to turn on when the light level is turns to level 7. So we can do that very simply by hooking up a NOT gate, and let me show you how that's done actually. We can hook up a NOT gate to it using its techniques here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now when it goes below 8, I'm going to need a redstone torch here, and we've got a stick on us. When it goes below 8, then this redstone torch will then turn on again, and beyond here you would have all your lamps. So this is what we're going to be doing with this thing. Now actually looking at it, it would make more sense for me to put it somewhere like here, because then it's going to be below everything and we're going to have room to put the NOT gate actually in, and bearing in mind we know that it can power directly below it, and then we can actually take advantage of that. Now one thing to note as well with this is despite the fact that it gets powered below, it will not affect the redstone if the redstone is hidden. It will only affect the levels if the actual detector itself is hidden. So you just want the daylight sensor kind of exposed if you can. So where would be a good spot for it? I'm thinking we've got this nice little grass plains area right here. Let's stick it down, and it's probably not such a good idea to have this shovel, to be honest. So let's put you underneath, my good old-fashioned friend, and let's take you out and put you here. There we are. So that's going to count as 1, that's going to count as 2, and where shall we hide it? I think we should actually go here. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be 7 right there, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we want the NOT gate to be right there, so we need to power it to here, and then we just got to fill that dirt in, and I'll cover all the wiring up when we're done, but I just want to kind of keep it exposed for the time being. So here we now want to put our NOT gate in, which is going to be right here. As you can see at the moment it's going to be switched off, and that means that all the other wiring around is going to be off, so all the lamps are. Now all you need to do is you need to run your wiring to all these different lamps. And then you will probably need to consider adding some repeaters into the circuit, because otherwise the length of time the number of blocks that it needs to travel is going to be greater than 15. So that is something to consider there. So now all we need to do is kind of take this mountain apart, I guess, and kind of do these things. So here is where the lever is that I was using before. So now we want to put a block here instead, get that lever back, and put a piece of redstone dust there. Now if I power this, as you can see, it's still on. So that is what we want. So now what I need to do here is actually hide the wiring. And we're going to do that by just digging down. Simple as that. Not that far. You want it to make sure that it's connected. That is something to always consider. And this is going to be something that you're going to need to consider when actually molding your dirt landscape back, is actually that you don't want to cut any of your wiring. So let's see here. I can always replace the dirt later. That's something that we can play around with and get a good look as to what's going on. But for right now we kind of need to go sort of in this direction, I guess. I've got some stone going on here. Let me dig. We're somewhere here, aren't we? Yeah, right here. So what you would do now is you dig this out. This is really the wrong shovel for the job, isn't it? And here you would run your wire through here, and then you would hook it up to this particular lamp. So now when the light level decreases below 8, then this particular torch will turn on again and the lights will flick on, and that's how it works. Very simple. Not hard at all, I don't think, but there we go. Now if you're going to leave your wiring accessible like this, then you're going to either want to put some torches in, or if you don't want it to be accessible again, you can just do this and no monster will be able to spawn in that, because it is simply too small a gap for them to do so. So now I need to hook up these to the remaining lamps. And where's the one that we just did? Right there. And you can branch off, by all means, you can branch off on the way. So for this particular one, for example, it would make most sense to kind of come down here and then go to this lamp right there, and put that there, and then you would be able to kind of just hook it back up through this. I don't know, maybe I need to make sure it's going to be deep enough to right there. You could hook it up right here and just kind of link it up like that. Although I would recommend going a bit deeper actually, and hiding out these hiding the redstone like this, and then you can go like that. Now if you notice at night time certain lights don't come on, then you will need probably a repeater, or your circuit has been cut at some point by you replacing the blocks. So say here for example, that line is now cut, as you can see, as we learned way back when we did Redstone Dust, that you actually need to make sure that all the lines are free. So in this particular case now we would want to do something a little bit like that, and then you would want that here, and then you would want something like that, and then this, and you would kind of cover it up like that, is how I would do it. And down here, similar thing, you just need to make sure that your lines will not get cut. So this one was a little bit easier to do. You can just do that and get away with it fairly nicely. So I'm going to get on with this now, guys, and I'm going to hide all the redstone to this, and I will be right back when I have finished up hooking up the remainder of the lights, because it's just going to be me doing the same thing, just tearing up this landscape and just hooking them all up one by one. So I shall be right back. Okay guys, so I hooked all the wiring up to the daylight sensor, did a bit of research on it. It turns out it's the axe that mines it the fastest, not your fist, because it is made of wood, so it's actually the axe. And as you can see, the sun is going down. Currently all the lights are off, as we can see here. All the levers have gone. I'm just kind of waiting for the grass to regrow around the mountain, but that'll happen through time. And once the sun goes down, we can actually see these turn on. As you can see here, there's wires everywhere, and everything's turned on now because sun is setting. As you can see, all the lights have turned on, the sun is going down, the moon is on the rise. These turn on just a little bit before dark, so it doesn't give monsters an opportunity to spawn at all, basically. So you have that option as well. So as you can see here, all the lights are now switched on. If you want to see how it works, you can actually dig your way in here, and you can use the world download, which will be available in the description. But basically, as you can see there, the wire points into the block below the lamp itself, and that is really important, as we know from when we looked at the Redstone Dust, things do not work unless the dust is pointing into them. So make sure that the dust does not point anywhere else, or ends up going in a loop or anything like that. You want it to be pointing into the block. So let's just do a quick example here. It needs to be like that, not like that or like this. It has to be like that, and like that only, for this particular design to work. So now we can cover up the little mess that we made right there, and we can enjoy our lights that come on only at night. And if I just quickly jump in bed and get myself a quick sleep. Not sure what's going on with the bed here in this particular version, but just have to see on that one, won't we? You will actually see in a minute all the lights will actually turn off. So there you go, they turned off. It's daytime again, so they no longer need to be on. And that is basically how the daylight sensor works, in all honesty. That's a good practical use of it. You could use this for more than just what I'm using it for. You could use it to light villagers up and all that kind of thing, to keep them safe at night from zombies. How ironic is that? He is stood under a block giving light. So yeah, that's basically the uses of the daylight sensor. There are other things for it. You can build automatic farms with it and all those kind of things, but I hope that this has given you the basic fundamental concept, so now you can go away and actually use the daylight sensor yourself. So quick recap with the daylight sensor. It's a block that emits redstone signal depending on where the sun is. If you invert it, then you can do the opposite and make things happen at night instead of during the day like it would normally do. And that's pretty much it as regards the daylight sensor, in all honesty. There's not a whole lot more to talk about with it. This particular design, I did use a couple of repeaters around just to buff up the signal, but for nothing more than that. And I just kind of wiggled the redstone around where I could to make them all powered. You could use multiple daylight sensors. They're not that expensive to craft if you wanted to, but for me it's perfectly fine to just use one in this case, because I don't want different lights turning on at different times, but you could do that equally as well. So beyond that, next episode we will be taking a look at another block that interacts with redstone, and that is the hopper. We're going to play around with the hopper, and we're going to build some basic automatic farms with that. So something to look forward to there. And other than that, really, that's everything that I need to say about the daylight sensor. That's how you use it. And I hope to see you in the next episode when, as I say, we will take a look at the hopper. So until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And until next time, see you later and have a good day.